Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Shane Hector from the No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk Show. We are back in the building on this early Saturday morning of the parade for the Washington Nationals. Congratulations to the Nats on winning the World Series. So I definitely have to at least shout them out for that. I mean, it's one of those situations. You say to yourself, like, the Nats came from behind. They did it. So I have to at least start with that. This on this early morning. I mean, they came back and won that game when they were down 2-0 in that game 7 against the Houston Astros, and then all of a sudden they just kept getting run after run after run, and then they finally won that. Game 7 6-2. It was a very good game to watch. I said this to a lot of people, a lot of sports fans, and everybody thought I was crazy when I said it. I said if the Nationals can beat the Dodgers, they're going to the World Series and they're going to win it all. As long as they didn't run into the New York Yankees, I knew they was going to win it all. Because I'm sorry, the Houston Astros, there was just no way. And it is what it is. For the Astros, don't worry, you'll be back next year. You'll be back next year. Okay? So... That number to call, ladies and gentlemen, is 301-429-9247. That's going to be the number to call, so I want everybody to get ready on their seat. Excuse me, I'm a bit under the weather. I want everybody to get on their seat, get your coffee, get some orange juice, whatever it is you do early in the morning. If you're eating brunch right now, that's even better, or breakfast. Get ready, because this is going to be a fun day. We're going to talk about a lot of different sports. We're going to talk about a lot of different sports teams. We're going to talk about what is it that is going to be different in sports today. So, we're going to start with some football, okay? So, little do people realize, football's still going on, ladies and gentlemen. Season's not over yet. All right? Understand that. Season ain't over yet. We still got some football left. And I want people to understand something, right? We got to talk about the NFL this week, and I want people to understand exactly what we're going to be talking about, because and then there's a couple other topics. We're going to talk about how the NCAA now is going to start allowing players to profit from their own likeness. We're going to talk about that later on. And then, of course, I'm going to talk about the NCAA Top 25 basketball teams in college basketball, okay? Because basketball is back and it's in full effect. Yes, football's still going on, but we still got to talk about basketball, because basketball is going to come up upon us very, very quickly, because right after the Super Bowl, it's going to be March Madness. So I want everybody to start getting ready for that. So, that's just what it is. But until then, we'll talk about the top 25 before everybody can start to see exactly what teams are going to shape up. But right now, we're going to talk about the NFL this week. So let's get into it. First game. 49ers and Cardinals, that game's already been decided. Obviously, the Niners won 28-25. Niners were a good football team, and I said to people, this team this year is a lot better team. I mean, Nick Bosa is definitely making a case for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's most certainly making a case for it. Okay, and the reason why I definitely say that he should get Defensive Rookie of the Year, because obviously the things he's doing when he's able to get to the quarterback, able to get the Kyler Murray the way he was getting there, and then to make things worse, he was also stopping the run. I mean, this is a team that nobody could have projected this year would have been 8-0. Now the 49ers, I want people to understand this, and understand this very clearly. The 49ers under Kyle Shanahan, when Jimmy G's on the field, they're winning. They win a lot of games. When Jimmy G's not on the field, they're not winning games. But that's for obvious reasons, because they ain't got no quarterback, obviously. Now, right now, let's look at the NFC. The NFC right now, okay. You've got the Green Bay Packers at 7-1. You got the Saints at 7-1. Okay, and then you also have the Dallas Cowboys, who are on top of their division at 4-3. Now, everybody knows the NFC East is trash right now. Everybody knows that. We're not even going to talk about the NFC East that hard body, because we know they're trash. It is what it is. It is. There's nothing anybody can do about it. But right now, the NFC is looking very, very strong this year because my projections for this for this for this season is going to be very interesting because right now, based on the standings, if the season were to end today, Dallas would definitely be a division winner. They'll face a wild card team. Green Bay would be the division winner. Saints would be the division winner, but the Niners will obviously be the de facto conference winner because they're 8-0, they're undefeated. But Seattle is sitting at 6-2, and so is in Minnesota. Now those two teams one of those two teams would have to battle it out for that 5th and 6th spot based on their strength of schedule and how many points they put up per game and stuff like that. So with that being said, I could see this happening, is you could have a potential, like, some really good games in the playoffs as with these kinds of teams. But let's start with the Niners since we're going to talk about the fact that they just won this past game. So the Niners defense the Niners defense in general. Now I want people to understand this is ranked number 2 in the NFL. Obviously, the only other team that's got a better defense than them is the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman, which is the Patriots defense. That's what they are called. So every great defense that's number 1 in the league is got to be named something great, especially with the way the Patriots defense has been playing. So yeah, they call the Boogeyman because obviously Seattle, they were called the Legion of Boom, and then of course the Vikings defense, back in '98 when they were called the Purple Eaters, and then of course the 2000 Ravens, then the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, then you got the '85 Bears. I mean, all these defenses and had names, and then of course Pittsburgh, the Steelers, being called that Steel Curtain. So with that being said, also the Niners offense is ranked number 3 in the NFL, so that's why I could see why they're 8-0. I mean, that just makes perfect sense, But the thing is about the Niners defense, okay? Against the run, okay, they don't allow too many yards, okay? So that's the great thing. I mean, these guys are very great at stuff in the run. So far against the run, they've been number 14 in rushing, but against the pass, have fun trying to throw on this team. Okay, so they're not really the good of a run defending team. They're almost similar to the Patriots defense because the Patriots defense is not really that great against the run, but they're amazing against the pass. Amazing. I mean, obviously because the Patriots defense is ranked number 1 in the pass. So there's that, especially with that vaunted secondary. Now the only thing is the difference between these two teams is that the Niners defense has a little bit more injuries, but mainly on offense. But they do have a big injury, which was Jason Verrett. Now and it is what it is. He's out, but he's been out for a while now, so nothing anybody could do about that, right? Now, Jimmy G, 13 touchdown passes, 7 picks, 1,800 yards so far in his 8 games this year. Now there's still 8 more games for them to play. I think he can most certainly finish with probably 3,600, possibly 4,000 this year, probably like 26, 28 touchdown passes. Assuming he does not do anything else stupid. Now, rushing the football, Matt Breida, 524 yards in 8 games. He'll probably finish this season with 1,000. I have to believe he could definitely get 1,000 yards this season. He doesn't have that many touchdowns. He only has 1 touchdown on the season, rushing and 1 receiving touchdown. Right now, Tevin Coleman is the one who's the power back because he's got 355 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. Kyler Murray in this game, he played extremely well. I like the way Kyler Murray played. Now, if you want to know where these stats are, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to ProFootballReference.com in order to look for those stats. Of course, I will share the link with you guys so that way you guys can know exactly where you're looking at, so that way you can see what it is. What it is about these stats. So with that being said, let's go on to that next game. So because clearly this game is already decided. Buccaneers Seahawks. Now this one's gonna be lopsided as can be because Buccaneers right now they're 2-5. They're not exactly the best football team, but the thing is the Seattle Seahawks just acquired Flash Gordon, and Russell Wilson tweeted last night on his Twitter account that about Flash Gordon coming there, saying Flash, let's get this work, and he can't wait. So with that being said, let's look at the roster. Let's look at the roster for the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks right now got 3 receivers to throw to. Okay, and so Russell Weapons got all sorts of weapons available to him. So let's look at it. You got Josh Gordon, DK Metcalf. That's your rookie receiver. Now Flash, I just hope that he can stay off the weed. Stay off the weed, brother. I think he'll be fine. Okay? So with that being said, let's look at this. What'll happen is Flash, DK, Tyler Lockett. That's going to be your slot receiver because obviously he's big. But Flash will have to get used to the playbook because Brian Schottenheimer is going to have to give him a crash course in some of the routes and the plays that they run and stuff like that. But if Flash could come in and do some of the things that he does, it's going to be a very long day for the rest of the NFC. And then I could see Seattle possibly finishing 13-3. The only problem comes into play. This is where it's going to come into play. They're either going to finish 13-3 or 12-4, and they'd have to find a way to beat the 49ers. If they could beat the Niners, okay, it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Now, let's look at Seattle. Right now, they're sitting pretty at 6-2, right? The defense, I'm not feeling the defense from Seattle. They're number 20 in the NFL. Now, I know why that is. Because they're very good against the run, okay? They're very good against the run. Some of the top 10 in the NFL in attempts. So a lot of people don't try to run on them too much. The problem comes into play, and this is where the problem comes into play, is the pass. Passing wise, you can most certainly throw on this football team because clearly they ain't got the corners and the safeties to match up. They just don't. That's just what it is. I mean, if they think that Shaq Griffin is gonna be the answer to their problems, it's just not gonna happen. And I'm sorry, it's just what it is. Okay, now. Jadeveon Clowney had some issues had a knee issue, so this will likely chance. Now he'll still play most likely, but I mean at the end of the day, it's not going to be really, it's not going to be pretty for anybody. But what I will say about the Seattle is this: their third down defense is number 6 in the league, so that's the reason why I could see them most certainly beating the Buccaneers because because the defense will definitely get off the field on third down, and then on top of that, their red zone percentages is number 7 in the NFL in defense. So there's no way a lot of teams are going to really score on them. They're bend but don't break defense. So that's the great thing about Seattle. Now, Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright has been trying to do what they do best in order to make sure that they can maximize the kinds of things that they can do on defense, such as blitzes and getting sacks, and it allows Jadeveon Clowney to get to the quarterback and a couple of the other guys. The problem comes into play is when your secondary is not holding up. And so with that being said, what's going to have to come into play is Jameis Winston's going to have his hands full against that pass rush. So, I mean, granted, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, Chris Godwin right now is one of the leading receivers of the NFL. I mean, he's been doing amazing. He's been causing some serious havoc in the NFL with the way he's been playing. So, I mean, there's that. So, what I can say this: Seattle's most certainly going to probably beat the Buccaneers. They're probably going to win. If I had to choose a score, it's definitely going to be there's at least 38 points to Tampa Bay's 27. Granted, Tampa Bay had ran up the score against the LA Rams, but they played an LA Rams team that at that time they were still trying to figure out their defensive identity, and they still haven't figured it out, because the truth is Aqib Talib is gone now. They got rid of him. They sent Marcus Peters to the Ravens, which I thought was a extremely bad move. And then on top of that, you pick up Jalen Ramsey, but the problem is you haven't really got him acclimated to the playbook. So now you've got issues with that. Your linebackers are not exactly the best linebackers, but it is what it is. Now, I do like their D-line, but the problem is Aaron Donald's getting triple teamed like every other place. So that means that somebody's got to step up to go get the quarterback, because Aaron Donald can't do it by himself. That's just that. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next game. So next game's what is going to be Browns and Broncos. Okay, so this is a must-win for the Browns. Let me explain why. 2-5, second stretch of the season, right? You're playing the Denver Broncos with no Joe Flacco, no Emmanuel Sanders. That guy he's gone now, right? Then you add in the fact that this team, all they have left is Chris Harris, and Chris Harris is probably going to be gone. Gone himself probably after this year, because I can see the Broncos trading him after this year. I just don't see it, you know. And what's really going to be sad is Baker Mayfield. You know, I really wanted to like the Cleveland Browns this year, but when you are running your mouth the way he does, the way he talks about, oh, everybody's just throwing us in the trash, and then he gets all upset with a reporter for asking a very simple question. Dude, if you can't play in the NFL, then don't play in the NFL. Don't talk. If you guys, I mean, seriously, you got to be more mature than that. You know, you need to grow up. Like, on all seriousness, you have to be a type of player that could take the criticism, but also just answer the questions. It is what it is. You're not having a good season. You're 2-5. Can you turn that around? Absolutely. You can most certainly turn it around. It's not like you can't. So let's look at the facts. The facts are, you got the Broncos next. You're going to play them in Denver. You're going to play the Bills, play the Steelers twice. Then the Dolphins. You got to play the Bengals twice, and the Baltimore Ravens and the Cardinals. Out of all those games, I can foresee 2 losses. Most certainly to the Baltimore Ravens, and most certainly to the Buffalo Bills. But because I don't trust the Bills' offense, there's a very likely chance that the Browns could possibly win. Now, let's look at the facts. Right now, the Browns are 1-1 versus the AFC East this year, okay? And they're 0-2 against the NFC West this year, because, let's be real, Seattle beat them 32-28. That was a game they shouldn't have lost. And then they got bogged down in a dogfight with the LA Rams, lost that one 20-13. Their only 2 wins were against the New York Jets, and it's the New York Jets, let's just be honest now, and the Baltimore Ravens, when they trounced them 40-25. And I'm thinking, maybe they got a shot at maybe turning this around. And then it was loss after loss after loss. And then even when they came back from the bye, they came in against a New England team that was already hot from beating the Jets the week before, in which the term boogeyman got coined. And then you look at the facts. The facts I just don't see how Baker Mayfield's going to be able to do the things that he does without just focusing on football. Just focus on football and you'll be fine, kid. The Broncos, let's be real, they ain't got nobody. Peyton Manning's are gone. Flacco, he's hurt. Demaryius Thomas, gone. Emmanuel Sanders, gone. Running backs back then, gone. No tight ends. Virgil Green, okay? Then you talk about Julius Thomas and those boys, gone. All of those guys are gone. That Broncos team, I don't know who's on there. And please don't tell me about Von Miller, because Von Miller's there, but you know what? He'll get his 10 sacks or his 11 or his 12 sacks. Von Miller will still be Von Miller. But the problem comes into play is that Denver offense is just not performing. So I can see the Browns winning this game, but I think it's going to be a good dog fight. I think the final score will be 28-20. Browns win in Denver. So that's my take on that, because I mean the Browns offense is ranked 25 in the NFL, and then the defense is ranked 22. But we know why they're ranked 22, because they have a lot of injuries. They had some injuries starting at the beginning of the year, especially with Kirksey, because Kirksey not being there is really hurting them. Then Demarius Randall did not practice this week, so that's a very big problem for them. And then of course on Jarvis Landry, he was limited in practice with a shoulder injury, and then Odell Beckham Jr. had a groin injury, so he was also limited in practice. So we'll see what happens. Next game. So we get the Packers and the Chargers. Okay, now everybody's gonna call me crazy. I'm gonna choose, because I like to call this this is what I like to call the trap game. This is a trap game. I'm gonna tell you why it's a trap game. Because I don't care the fact that the LA Chargers are 3-5. They're 3-5 because they lose games on stupid stuff. They don't lose games because they're not good. They lose games because they do stupid things. Like if they didn't do stupid things, they would actually be fine. So unfortunately, Derwin James is on injured reserve. It is what it is. They have a lot of injuries on offense. Dontrell Inman being injured, that's really hurting them, and they lost a lot of guys. But what's still, and I have to say it, God, man, that Chargers defense, ranked 10 in the NFL. You can't beat that. Can't beat that. 8th against the pass. Okay, 8th in the NFL against the pass. Okay, they're very, and their number is it, and that's just on first downs. But when it comes to yards, they are number 6 in the NFL, so they don't give up a lot of passing yards. The problem comes into play is that the fact that they can't stop the run to worth to save their life, because they number 20 against the run, and I'm like, good God, like you've got to be able to stop the run, but they are number 11 against in rushing touchdowns, so they don't give up a lot of rushing touchdowns. So the good thing is about this team is they'll let you get your yards, but you're probably not going to score. And red zone defense, okay, they're number 15 in the league, but the thing is, on third down, they're number 30 in the NFL. And the thing about Aaron Rodgers, he lives for third down. Because they're one of the top. Because the Packers offense is one of the top 5 offenses in third down percentage. So with that being said, I could foresee the Chargers winning this game. I'm going to call the upset. Okay? Because I like Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip might be able to pull this off. But the problem's going to come into play is if they feed the ball to Melvin Gordon and not Austin Eckler. Give the ball to Austin Eckler. Eckler is what's getting you your points. I'm sorry. He's getting you your points. Do what you got to do to win the football game and grind it out. There's no way you can tell me that Melvin Gordon right now is playing good football, because obviously he's not. He's only averaging 2.4 yards per carry. That is god awful. And then this was the same guy who held out. If he would have stayed, if he would have did the Ezekiel Elliott method, I like to call it the Ezekiel Elliott method, because with the Ezekiel Elliott method, it actually worked. Okay. What Ezekiel Elliott did was he stayed in shape up until the end of his holdout after he got his money. Once he finally got his money, what ended up happening was now Zeke is playing like Zeke. He's still playing like Zeke. I mean, the Cowboys are 4-3, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're at the top of the division. But you can't say that Zeke wasn't valuable and not worth it, because he's definitely showing that he's worth it. Okay, he's one of the top 5 running backs in rushing yards this year and touchdowns. So there's that. So Zeke is well worth the money. But Melvin Gordon, dude, let's be real. You had 885 yards last year, 10 touchdowns, and then you got hurt. I'm sorry. If you expect me to believe that you was deserving of the money, homie, you are sadly mistaken. Nobody cares. Bye. I'm going to choose the Chargers for the upset. Okay. It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting for the Chargers. Okay? Right now, when they see Green Bay, it's going to be at home. I got them winning this game 21-17. It's going to be a tough, grinded out game. They're going to have to grind this win out and make sure that they sack the quarterback, because the secondary for the Chargers is a great secondary. I love watching those guys play. But I love my man Joey Bosa. I love Joey Bosa, and I love my man Melvin Ingram. Those guys are getting to the quarterback. This is straight up nasty. So I'm gonna choose the Chargers 21-17. Hit me in the comments if you want to say something, or give me a call at 301-429-9247. Drop a comment, question, concern. I'm most certainly going to keep going with this. Next game. This is an afterthought game to me. I'm going to choose the Texans to win this one, because I'm sorry. Unless you're telling me the Jaguars defense is going to show up with no Telvin Smith. Miles Jack doesn't even know who he is right now. No Jalen Ramsey. AJ Bouye is all you got. and please don't tell me that Barry Church is the best guy you got. Because if you're telling me that Barry Church is the best guy you got, you're sadly mistaken. Nah. And Yannick Ngakoue, I know where he at. He kind of disappeared this year. So I got the Texans winning that one. 31-17. Gardner Minshew looks good. Now, J.J. Watt is a big loss for the Texans, but that defense is still going to perform without him. I'm not worried about the Texans. Next game. Now, Redskins fans, y'all going to get mad at me, and that's fine, because you know what the truth is. Y'all know it, and I know it. The Redskins is trash. They're 1-7 for a reason. I got the Bills trouncing this team 38-7. Like, this is also another afterthought game. I'm going to explain why. Dwayne Haskins is about to start against the number 3 defense in the NFL. Why would you start a rookie quarterback versus that defense? I don't even get that. Like, I would have waited at least until week 10 at this point, because I'm sorry, I'm not about to start him against that team. That team is already high flying as it is, and they're just foaming at the mouth to get at New England again. Now, when they see New England again, they're going to have to see New England in New England, because New England already beat them in Buffalo. So there's that. So with that being said, Redskins fans, I wouldn't even bother looking at the TV this weekend. Just go to the parade today, have a good time. Because what's going to happen is when you see these Bills, they're going to run through you, and it ain't going to be fun. Okay? It ain't going to be fun, so it is what it is. My score for this game, 38-7. Moving forward, don't even think about it. Next game. Ooh, now this is going to be a funny one. So, the Chiefs. Okay? The Kansas City Chiefs. And the Vikings. Number 4 offense. Okay? This is going to be a tough one. It's really going to be a tough one, because the thing about it is Patrick Mahomes is set to come back. He's set to come back. Now, the thing is, the number 4 in offense, obviously. Defense is not that great. They're ranked 17 in the league, okay? I've been saying this for the longest. The Chiefs' defense is horrible against the run. Horrible. They're number 30. Is it 30 in the NFL in yards? 26 in rushing touchdowns. And, they're just not a good run defense. They're just not. But against the pass, they're number 11. Now, I know why that is. The defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs is Steve Spagnuolo. Now, Steve Spagnuolo was the same defensive coordinator who helped the Giants beat the 2007 New England Patriots in that undefeated Super Bowl with that vaunted Giants defense, and the reason why that Giants defense showed up in the playoffs that particular year when he was under Tom Coughlin. So with that being said, I could see why he's coaching under Andy Reid, because Andy Reid needed to bring in a guy that can help him beat New England. Now, this is a different New England team that he'll be facing, obviously. So his biggest test is going to be this week against the Minnesota Vikings, which, by the way, is on fire. This Vikings team ranked ranked 4 in the NFL. Actually, correction, is number 3 in the NFL because the Buffalo Bills actually just dropped the number 4. I actually have to make a correction on that. So, with that being said, getting back to it, the Vikings barely have any injuries. They have all of maybe 2 guys that are injured on injured reserve, but most of the time their team is healthy. They're sitting at 6-2. The only problem is they have to see the Packers because the Packers are 7-1. In offense, they're ranked 10 in the NFL. But it makes sense, though, because Kirk Cousins finally got it together. Now, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs has been lighting it up. And then they add in Laquan Treadwell. Okay, so he's back in the lineup. And then Dalvin Cook, the NFL leading rusher in yards. Okay? But this dude is playing lights out. Okay? He's playing lights out. Dalvin Cook is the truth. You can't not mention Dalvin Cook. It's just impossible, And I tried to say this to people about Dalvin Cook. As long as he can stay healthy, this team is going to go places. And what I always say to people is, let's look at the facts. The facts are the Minnesota Vikings have an opportunity here. Now, this is a must-win for them. Explain why it's a must-win for them. Because the problem is, and this is when it comes into play, and I've been saying this for the longest now. Everybody's going to call me crazy for saying this. The problem that's going to come into play for the Chiefs is, if this Vikings team could get off on that first snap, they're not going to be able to recover because everybody knows that the Chiefs can't stop the run. Now, if I'm the Vikings offense, I'm going to run the ball very, very heavy. And the reason why that is, you saw what happened when they had Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes against the Colts, he looked god-awful. He was able to throw the football, yes. He threw it for 315 yards, no touchdown passes, no picks, but he got sacked left and right. He was kept on the sideline by that Colts offense because they kept running the football. It looked like an old school football game because it was 40 to 50 times they ran the football. And if I'm Mike Zimmer, I'm taking a look at that and saying, you know what? We're going to run the ball heavy because I know they can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. And then it'll open up the play action because that's what the Vikings like to run anyway. So it'll open up the play action, and then when that play action starts, you can start going over the top. So, even if Patrick Mahomes is on the field, and everybody's going to call me crazy, I've got the Vikings winning this one 45-30. I think the Chiefs are going to put up points, but I don't think they're going to outscore the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think they're going to outscore them, but I believe that they're definitely going to put up at least 30 points. But I do believe the Vikings are going to definitely put up at least 45. That's just what it is, because they got the offense to do it as long as they show up. So that's that. Moving on to the next game. Jets-Dolphins, this is what I like to call the nothing game. Now, the Jets are the Jets. Sam Darnold said he saw ghosts, but he doesn't have to see the ghosts this week because he's got to see some fish. Now, what he's gonna have to do is he's gonna have to fly over the fish. And after Jets winning this one, they'll be 2-6 after this game because the Dolphins are god awful. I'm projecting the Dolphins to go 0-16. That's I just know. After they lost to the Bengals, I thought the Dolphins had a chance and they found a way to screw up. Dolphins will be 0-16. Jets will win this game 28-14. Sam Darnold will throw 3 touchdown passes, and then there'll probably be a special teams touchdown in there somewhere. So there's that. So we're gonna move on for that one because we don't need to even talk about that. This game is horrible. Jets will win this one. Next. Bears Eagles. I think this is going to be a good game to watch because Mitch Trubisky has been trying to boggle down and focus on getting himself together because now he's getting a lot of backlash. Allen Robinson is going to be trying to get the ball a little bit more. So, but I just don't think they have enough firepower to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't, because the Eagles right now. Okay, the Eagles right now. I look at their offense now. They're hurt. But what I'll say this about the Eagles is they can win this game. The Eagles will most certainly win this game. The only problem is they're 4-4. You're midway through the season, right? You're about to be you're midway through the season, and you're gonna play the Bears today. Then you got to bye. Then after that, you got to see New England, okay? And then after that, and both teams will be coming off of a bye week, so they'll be well rested. So, Chicago's is not that good of a football team because the defense, has been playing very well. Their defense is ranked 6th in the NFL. I know that. But their offense is ranked 26th in the NFL. Okay? So this is where it comes into play. The offense has got to find a way to put points on that board and stop putting the defense in a bad bind. They just got to stop doing it. And if they stop doing that, they actually have an opportunity to win. Okay? And so, with that being said, I got the Eagles winning this one. This is going to be a grinding out game. I got the Eagles winning 17-13. Low scoring football game. I don't see how this game gets out of hand. I think it's going to be 17-13. Eagles win. Next game. Colts Steelers. Colts. Jacoby Brissett is putting up a clinic. This is going to be this is a bad game for the Steelers. I don't like it. I think the Colts are going to win this one 42-14 because I like the way Jacoby Brissett is playing, especially since it's the man who negotiated his own contract with the Indianapolis Colts to get that 2-year, $30 million deal that he negotiated himself. He didn't have an agent. He negotiated himself. And he's playing a high level of football. Almost MVP-like. And I honestly think that he might have an opportunity to really show the Colts that he could be that franchise guy. So with that being said, I got the Colts winning, especially since he beat Deshaun Watson. I mean, I didn't think that was gonna happen, but he did. Colts win this one 42-14. Steelers don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. Next game. Titans and Panthers. I've got the Panthers winning this one. I don't like the Titans right now because Ryan Tannehill, he's still unproven to me. And then the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey, also, I don't know why he's not even in the MVP conversation. I really don't understand why he's not. He's catching the football more than any other running back. He's also rushing the football more than any other running back. He's getting a lot more carries. But he's not the leading rusher, but he's the most scrimmage yards than any other running back in the NFL right now. So Christian McCaffrey and his Panthers, I feel like the Panthers could win this one. Most likely, more than likely, 35-24 over the Titans. That's my score because that Panthers offense is looking pretty potent. And I love, and then on the defense side of the ball, there's no way you can not love my man Luke Kuechly. Gotta love that Boston College linebackers board. So that's that. Let's move on to the next game. Lions Raiders. When I saw this game on the schedule, I said, do I really want to have to choose who I want to win this gun? Yeah, I do want to choose this one. The Raiders! Yeah! We're going to go with the Raiders in this one. I like Jon Gruden. I like Derek Carr, and I like the way that team is finally starting to get it together a little bit. They're starting to get it together a little bit. I don't trust the Lions because the Lions find a way to lose games. I don't care what Matthew Stafford is doing. Matthew Stafford needs to leave the Detroit Lions. I think that the Lions have run their course. I don't think that they've been a good team to him. They've yet to build around him. And on top of that, he's stuck with that team for years. And I just be like, boy, you need to just go. I think the team that he should go to, and everybody's going to call me crazy for this. I don't think he'll go to a division rival, but I do think he should go there. I think he should go to the Chicago Bears. Because at least with the Chicago Bears, he'll at least be able to do something. But again, he has to go in free agency and get released from his contract. So there's that. But I got the Raiders winning this one. Another game that's gonna be another grinded out game. 24-20 is it 24-20. Raiders win as it beat the Lions. Next game. Ha! Y'all know I was waiting for this one. All right, so let's get to it, right? The Boogeyman. The Boogeyman. We got to talk about them Patriots, boy. We don't talk about them Pats. The Patriots versus the Ravens. Now, Nick Boyle, I've been saying this for the longest time. That boy got you can't talk smack before the game. Boy, you haven't even stepped on the field with New England yet, and already is he shooting you is a foot in your mouth. Okay, right now, the Patriots defense is number one. And I don't even know how many statistical categories. I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous what the Patriots is doing right now. It is, to me, it's crazy. It's actually, like, out of sight. They're number one in offense. They're number one in defense. They're number one in defense, okay? And I want to tell people this. I want people to understand. And in six statistical categories. Now, everybody can say they haven't played anybody. I know that's what everybody's going to say. Well, they haven't played anybody. They only beat the Jets. They only beat the Dolphins. And they beat a Steelers team that was hurt. No. That Steelers team was very much healthy when they played them. So let's be honest. And even when they did have Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, the Patriots demolished them. The Patriots demolished them. So I'm like, come on now. Like, I don't want to hear that excuse. People make excuses for the reasons why the Patriots win all the time. Mind you, they have a lot of injuries. Now, N'Keal Harry just got on the plane. Eye opener. So he just got on the plane. He was on the injured reserve list, designated to return. So, with that being said, Patriots offense is ranked 1 in the NFL. Okay, obviously they're number 4 in the league in passing, but in rushing the football, obviously they're 23. Because this year they're having a bit of a down year in rushing the football because Sonny Michel, I think he's having a little bit of a bad year, and I think that's probably because of a nagging injury that he's kind of had. And then on top of that, that offensive line for New England has been out too, so they've had a lot of issues because Isaiah Wynn, unfortunately, he hasn't been able to step forth on the field like he used to, and then on top of that, he's now out for the season as well. Okay, and it's kind of frustrating. It is what it is. Shaq Mason's been in and out of games. But I'm going to say this. The Boogeyman is going to face the Baltimore Ravens on a Sunday night. Now, I'm going to say it like this. The funniest thing about the Boogeyman, they're going to face a Ravens offense that's number 2 in the league. Now, I always say this to people because I want people to understand something about number 1 defenses against number 1 offenses. If anybody remembers the Super Bowl with Seattle and what they did to the Denver Broncos, and I don't know why people keep forgetting this. That game was 43-8. That was a very bad game for the Broncos. I thought for sure everybody thought the Broncos were gonna light up the Seattle Seahawks. They were gonna do this, they were gonna do that. And I'm like, well, there's one problem. They never faced a good defense all season long. So when people want to talk about the Ravens and tell me that the Ravens have faced better teams, name me one team that they faced this year that was tough. I'll wait. The only team they could say that was a tough football team that they faced, and let's just be honest about it, you lost twice to 2 teams you probably shouldn't have lost to. You lost to the Chiefs, 33-28. Then the week after that, you lose to you lost to the Cleveland Browns. Like, if you're gonna really tell me that the Ravens have a chance in beating New England, and everybody's saying, well, the Ravens are gonna beat New England, blah blah blah. Son, you lost to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, who the Patriots just smashed last week. Okay, they just smashed them last week. Now, granted, they're two totally different teams, but let's be honest. Belichick is undefeated against teams with first and second year quarterbacks. He has a 21-game win streak against as a first and second year quarterbacks, and on top of it, he's got the number one defense in the NFL. Look, let's just stop the noise. The boogeyman is coming to play this game. The boogeyman are coming to play, and they're gonna get to Lamar Jackson. Like, and if you think for a second that they're not, I don't care if he's mobile. In fact, that's actually gonna make him more vulnerable because the last time he did that, he did it against the Chargers. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, because last year everybody forgets when he was a rookie last year, he faced that Chargers defense, and that Chargers defense had went to work. Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram was in there. The problem is now he's facing a Patriots defense that you don't know who's going to get to the quarterback. You don't know if it's going to be Dante Hightower. You don't know if it's going to be Jamie Collins. You don't know if it's going to be a Landon Roberts, Kyle Van Noy. You don't know who's going to be, if it's going to be Dietrich Wise. You don't know who's going to get to the quarterback on this football team. And then let's not even talk about the secondary, because right now, my man Stephon Gilmore, he's on strat duty. Strat duty. 5 years, $65 million contract for a reason. He's on strat duty. He's been strapping every receiver that he's come across this year. Okay? Marquise Brown probably might get a few yards, but he's not getting off. I'm going to tell you that right now. And then let's look at the Ravens defense. The Ravens defense is most certainly missing C.J. Mosley. They're missing Terrell Suggs. And the only good player to me on that defense right now is Matthew Judon. And I like Judon because Judon gets in there. The problem comes into play is when now Pernell McPhee, you're having issues with him because he's got injuries. And then it's also coupled in the fact that you don't have the same D lineman you once had. Well, Haloti Ngata and those guys being gone. Then let's look at the secondary. Yes, you got Marcus Peters, and that's cute. But guess what? You still don't have any corners because Marlon Humphrey, he gets beat like he stole something. Tavon Young is out for the year. And yeah, Jimmy Smith might be coming back. But see, the problem with Jimmy Smith, he's also another one. You played him out of position. And I don't think it was... And if I'm the Ravens, I would actually consider moving Jimmy Smith to the safety position. And then that way you have a strong safety. And then you got my man... Earl Thomas over the top. That's what I would consider. And then you got all kinds of, and you can do all kinds of different things with that secondary, because then that way, like you can have Jimmy Smith play the slot. You can have him play the slot, and then that way you can move him any way you want to go, because he can not only play corner, but he can also play safety as well. That's the great thing about having a guy like Jimmy Smith, because Jimmy Smith is tall, 6'2", 210 pounds, ran a 4.4 on the 40-yard dash. It's not like Jimmy can't cover. The problem comes into play is when you play Jimmy Smith out of his position. And I've been saying this for the longest about Baltimore. Okay, now let's look at their injury list. Now, the injury list right now. Okay, Jimmy was limited in practice this week. Okay, he's limited in practice this week. He's coming back, and I think it's going to be, and that's going to be good for them. It's going to be good. But when you got, Tavon Young injured for the rest of the year, Pernell McPhee injured for the rest of the year, Tony Jefferson injured for the rest of the year. Okay, you've lost a lot of key guys. That's an issue. The defense is ranked 16 in the NFL, but I will say this about Baltimore: they are number 3 in yards against the run. Number 3 in yards against the run, and they can most certainly stop the run. The problem comes into play when they can't stop the pass, and then when they get into the red zone, they're not a good red zone defense. Okay? They're not a good red zone defense. They're okay. They're number 8. Now, everybody can say that that's good. That's not good when you're going up against the number one offense in the league. And then on top of that, on third down and fourth down percentage, they're number 20 in the NFL in third down percentage, and number 24 on fourth down percentage, and on defense. So since we're looking at those statistics, let's just be honest for a second. You're probably not going to have that opportunity to really stop New England, because they go for it on third and fourth down anyway. You go for on third and fourth down anyway. So that's that. So I've got Patriots winning this one in another grinded out game. But I do believe it's going to be a bit of a high scoring game. This one is probably going to be 38-31, and it's going to come down to a late touchdown in the very end of the game, so that way the New England could put it out of reach. And then there's that. New England wins 38-31. All right, next one. I got Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Let's talk about the Cowboys. There's really nothing to talk about. The Cowboys will beat the Giants. Let's be real. The Giants ain't got no corners. They ain't got no receivers. All they got is a running back and a quarterback. And please don't tell me that Sterling Shepard is a number one receiver, because that dude is a slot receiver. Actually, not even really a slot receiver. He's more like a fourth string receiver playing as a first string, because there's nobody else. And I firmly believe the Cowboys will win this game, because let's be real, Dak Prescott's got to show that he wants this money. He wants that shmoney. And since he wants that shmoney, he's going to have to show to Mr. Jones and his son that, hey, I want this cake. So we got to talk about this. So with that being said, the Cowboys are going to win this one. And this is just me being in the art of conspiracy theorists. I still believe the Cowboys could get to the Super Bowl now. I still do. Although they're going to have some tough teams to contend against. But I still believe the Cowboys can make it. Okay? I got the Cowboys winning this one against the Giants 38-20. This is not even a thought. Let's not even talk about it. Dak is going to light them up. And that's going to be the end of that. Let's not even talk about it. That'll be a fun game to watch, though. So there's that. Let's move on in the interest of time. So, folks, I'm not going to take a commercial break because, like I said, we're going to move on in the interest of time. So, NCAA and student athletes getting their likeness. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been wanting to talk about this all day. The NCAA is finally going to start paying players for their likeness. Now, I want people to understand something about what that means. Because and I know the real reason why the NCAA passed this. They passed this because they saw that what was going to happen was states in college were going to eventually start paying these guys for what they do. Now, the problem comes into play is, how's this going to work? How's this going to work? Because the problem is, and I've been saying this for the longest, they absolutely going to need to pay these players for their likeness, because these schools is making millions, if not billions of dollars off of these players and their likeness. Like, if you got a hot player on your team, somebody going to sponsor that kid. Okay? Now, the only thing is I would put in some type of rules in place where, like, where there's, like, for as far as the professional level, not as the NCAA level, professional level. So it's gonna because the thing is, even though the NCAA approved it, it's because of their image and their likeness. The problem's gonna come into play is, how's the system gonna work? How's this going to affect recruiting? Now, it's not going to be another team's problem if they get the best athletes. I mean, that's just what it is. In California, California showed, yeah, this is happening whether you like it or not. And then the NCAA saw that they was about to lose money. So, they got to create new rules by no later than January 2021. That's at least what they said. Now, the problem is going to come into play. It's going to talk about from Division 1, 2, and 3. So they're going to add these rules in. And there's 1,100 schools and a little over 500,000 athletes in college sports. The problem comes into play is, how's the money going to be distributed? Is it going to be TV revenue? Is it going to be sharing of the TV revenue? Is there going to be issues of, Sponsorships. What's it going to come down to? So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to need to be rolled out, and it's going to have to be rolled out with over the course of an entire year. So they're going to have to work diligently for the next year in order to approve all this for this to happen. Now there is a congressman who's trying to stop all this by saying yank away their scholarships. I don't agree with that, because last time I checked, if I can work at the age of 18, then most certainly I can profit off of my own likeness at the age of 18 as well, because last time I checked, you're making money off of my back and you're using my image and my likeness in order to make your school look good. So let's not do the whole, let's take away their scholarship stuff. No, we're not going to do that. Them kids earned it. They earned it because they worked hard for that. Now, do I believe there should be a clear distinction between professional sports and college sports? Yes, should be a clear distinction. But at the end of the day, if I'm an Under Armour sponsor and I want to sponsor a kid who looks good at, let's say, Tennessee, and I want to sponsor him and I want to pay him for his image, his likeness, cool. That's how that works. Do what you do. But you can't get mad at the kids for wanting to get money, because that's not the student's problem. And at the end of the day, you can make it so that where all parties can benefit. Where the student can get paid and gets paid a significant amount of money, and the school gets paid a significant amount of money. The thing that gets me is I don't see how they don't see the benefit of it, because it can benefit everybody. Everybody can benefit from this. The only thing is, it puts at some schools at a disadvantage, of course, because some schools have bigger programs. But that's when it comes down to, is it just building your program? That's what it comes down to. It is what it is. But hey, who am I? I'm just a guy analyzing the situation, right? So, that being said, in the interest of time, I'm going to move forward. We're going to come back to this as a next week, because I'm going to roll some more stuff up as this news keeps rolling in. So, NCAA Top 25 basketball teams. Okay? So that's going to be the last topic of the day, y'all. So the NCAA, let's go ahead and look at that. There we go. So NCAA Top 25 basketball teams in college basketball, right? I want people to understand something about this. Now the AP poll. The AP poll as of this year, all right, for preseason. Now this is where it's this is presented by ESPN.com. Okay, let's look at the college basketball rankings of what it looks like right now, and I want people to understand something. Everybody saw what happened last year. UVA won it all. Do I think they could repeat? Possibly. But they had a lot of seniors last year, so I'm not too sure if they are. But, it never hurts to look, right? Now, preseason poll, I'm going to tell you the team to watch for is most certainly going to be Michigan State. Michigan State, they got a lot of returning juniors, sophomores from last year's team. Kentucky's just going to be there just because it's Kentucky. Let's just be real. I like Calipari, but let's just be honest. Kentucky always has these crazy freshman phenoms that just come in and just ball. They end up going to the NBA right after, but I think it's going to be good. Duke will be Duke. It's just what it is. But the team that's going to be the surprise team of the year to me, the University of Maryland, the Terrapins. I don't know what it is, but the Terrapins, they're going to look really good. They got a lot of returning juniors from last year's team. Last year's team was pretty good, but they wasn't able to be as competitive as most people would have liked in the Big Ten, but they were able to at least make it last year. But I think that Maryland this year, if they run the table in the Big Ten, now the only thing that comes into play though, okay, now I'm going to throw this out there because I know how this is going to look. In the Big Ten, they're going to have to worry about, most certainly, Ohio State and Purdue. Those two teams are the teams they're going to have to look out for in that division, because I'm sorry, I don't care about Wisconsin. If anybody wants to tell me that Wisconsin's going to be good, chuck up the deuces on that. Sorry. I'm not even worried. And Texas Tech, that's going to be my sleeper team of the year. They're ranked 13 in the AP poll. But with Texas Tech, I love the way they played last year. They played amazing. And I like the way they played. I think it's going to be very, very interesting on how this all plays out. But It is what it is. And what I'm going to say is this. I know all of y'all can't wait till college basketball comes back on because the NBA is already starting to look a little funny here, which I'm going to talk about next week. I'm going to talk about the NBA next week, but it's going to be very, very interesting on how this all works. So with that being said, if I had to go with my preseason, is it my preseason Final Four, which I'm going to bring up when I do my brackets next year, because my brackets are going to be very nice this year once I see how the season shapes up. What I'm going to say is this. The team that I think is going to be a team to be on this list is most certainly going to be the University of Maryland. I actually think the Terrapins are going to be somebody to watch this year. They're going to be a sleeper because nobody's going to pay no attention to them, but they're going to quietly get those wins. And when they do, it's going to be interesting to watch. I can't wait. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. So that's it, folks. I want to thank everybody who tuned in this morning. Shout out to my godmother, Miss Rhonda White, my boy Marcus Morrell. Thank you for always supporting me, brother. I've always appreciated your support and watching my show. And then my man Miles. You've always supported me since day one, brother. Back in 2006 when we first met each other. But back in college, so I always thank you for the support and everybody who's watched the show. My mom, who's been a great integral part of my team, Mr. Anthony Mickey Plummer. Thank you for watching the show. Also, shout out to my team in the back here, WBGR Sports, my man Brandon and Shayna. I want to thank you both for doing what you guys do for the show. So let's go ahead and look at social media. Let's go ahead and look at that. So right here. We're gonna go ahead and go to the Facebook group. We'll go to the No BS No Ball Sports Talk Show viewer group. I want everybody to go and tune into that. Then after that, let's go to that YouTube page. I want to look at past shows and stuff like that if you haven't seen the show. And then I want you to go follow my blog on Blogger, No BS No Holds Barred. Sportstalk.blogspot.com. I got an article coming out to you guys. Going to be writing an article this weekend, so you will see that. Also follow my social media at insane_Shane29, underground SB29, shiz_29, No BS No Holds Barred.